All right. Welcome back to the 1% Baseball Podcast. It's been a couple weeks. You guys have been crisscrossing Texas, it seems, playing baseball. I know a number of our other guys are playing Little League and whatnot, and others are in the middle of long toss programs, batting programs, weightlifting. How are you guys doing, man?
Been busy. We've been trying. It feels like we're getting to know I-35 like a second home right now. It's like every day feels like we're traveling. We're doing good though, having fun, enjoying the summer, getting to start to see a lot of good baseball. We're starting to come together as a team and starting to see us just compete and do our jobs. And it's just the biggest thing that we're hunting for these guys and put them in the situation to get recruited. That's it.
For sure. What, 3 weeks in a row in Dallas?
Yeah. No, 2 weeks in a row, 1 week off.
1 week off.
Dallas again. So.
Yeah, when we finally get some time off, so that'll be nice, especially for the guys. I mean, you can go back to last weekend when we were in Dallas. That tournament went Thursday to Tuesday.
Thursday to Tuesday.
We didn't make it to Tuesday. We lost in the quarterfinals on Monday, but even just a quick turnaround with that, is I think a lot of these dudes are starting to see really how important it is not only to like hydrate and eat food, but just taking care of your bodies. Because even just this weekend going into Dallas was a little bit quicker of a turnaround for them and having to manage that from the pitching side. So it's been fun though, man. It's been fun as a whole, getting to go see some Ranger games and do that whole sort of thing. So it's been good.
Got to see Shohei Ohtani pitch and hit a bomb in the same game, which was freaking awesome. It was Evaldi versus Ohtani, which was just a great matchup. Stadium was packed, dude.
Oh, I bet.
That was the same game that Simeon got tossed in.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was a good a lot of eventful stuff going on in the game, which was fun. But yeah, we're just excited. We got, like Sean said, we got this weekend off. This is our one-off weekend in the summer, and then man, we're hitting the ground running again that next weekend, and then we go to Georgia, which is the big tournament that we're going to this summer.
Nice. So how many more weeks left?
We've got three
tournaments.
Yeah, 3 more tournaments left.
The Georgia one though will be a week long.
Okay.
So that's a Sunday to Sunday ordeal. So that'll be a fun one. Though.
And then we have our first annual South Texas Tribe Showcase, which is going to be awesome. We'll basically have just our 17 team, and we're going to have, it'll be at the field that we practice at, and we'll have 8 coaches there. So it'll be like basically they just come out on Tuesday and we do like a pro style workout and take BP and then do a little bit of a modified scrimmage just to give our guys another opportunity to get seen, which will be really cool.
Nice. Are y'all getting some looks from some big colleges?
Yeah, we're starting to get a lot of guys getting some names out there. Sam Houston State, UTSA were at the games this weekend. A lot of junior colleges. Midland was there a bunch this weekend. We've got some guys that are getting some looks out of some of the East Coast teams too, just because their grades are super high. A lot of like Ivy League schools and stuff. And then ACU's been at some games. Who else?
UTRGV, Grayson, Weatherford.
Yeah.
It's been good, and that's what we've been stressing to them is there's opportunities all over.
Yeah.
Opportunities all over the field. Like even yesterday, we're playing in the consolation game, which generally there's not a lot of coaches that go to the consolation games, right? Anyways, 17s go out, they play good, they come from behind, get the bats going late, and we're shaking hands at the end of the game after we win, and their coach pulls me off to the side. He's like, "Hey, I'm so-and-so with Grayson Junior College. Like, I really like the way your guys compete, and I like a lot of them." Right? So what we tell them is, like, there's guys everywhere, right? And everywhere you look, there's someone that knows someone, and there's people all over the place for you to make money and have a shot to play at the next level. So you just got to make the most of it, man, because one moment you slip up could be the most important time of your career.
Yeah, I got to. So this past weekend, the 15s were playing. We wrapped up the game, went to the 17s game right after, and one of the coaches that was there, he's a Division I coach now. I actually played for him in junior college. So right when I showed up to the game, got to hang out with him for probably 45 minutes. We just stood there catching up while we were watching our guys play, and we just started diving into everything, talking how their season went. They ended up winning their conference in the regular season, and just had a really good year. So catching up, just checking in on each other, and then we just started talking recruiting and stuff. Man, it's so, just like Sean said, everything matters. Everything.
Yeah, well, you said a second ago, and we have just so everybody knows, we have an on-air It'll never see the day of light. Those are really good podcasts, but we'll never.
It's in the archive.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it away as a prize one day. But you said something a second ago about guys with really good grades. Like how important are grades, number one, and does it give you an added advantage to play at the next level?
Yeah, it does. Mainly, there's a lot of different reasons why. One, from a coach's perspective, like the coaches that I've been around, if you can't handle your classroom stuff, how can they rely on you in the field? How can they rely on you to do the job, right? If you're unreliable in any aspect of your life, like that's just a window of look into who you might be and where unreliability becomes in terms of you as a player. And like that's what we're hounding on the 15s with right now in the summertime is reliability. Right? If you're not reliable, there's a deeper root cause. It's discipline. You're not disciplined. Discipline is why the 15s are not, lack of discipline is why the 15s are not playing good baseball right now. Or winning games that they should. It's because we're not disciplined. We go through the motions. We take things for granted. I don't do the stuff that's asked of me. So then I become unreliable, and then you lose a baseball game, right? Yeah. Coaches don't want that. And so in terms of grades, it's like, dude, if you're not able to get your stuff done in the classroom where all you have to do is literally sit in the front row, have a relationship with your teacher, do the work that is assigned to you, you'll fucking scratch an A, right? Yeah. You'll scratch a high B just by being present and doing your work. And with that, when you have good grades, like a lot of different things can happen. Coaches can take away money from you because you're getting more athletic money, or academic money, right? You're able to get more money from that school.
And hold on, before you continue, there's a lot more universities than we can count on our hands together that you can get more money academically than you ever can athletically. Mm. So again, that ties directly into it to where you can get way more money than the baseball program or football, whatever it is, could ever give you.
Yeah, 100%.
This football gets what, like a million scholarships?
Yeah, it's like 100 scholarships and only 80 travel. So like, put that in perspective. There's dudes that aren't even shooting out on Saturdays that are filling up the Gatorade cooler that are on full scholarship.
Yeah, I mean, and for baseball, it's only 11.7, right? So when you start breaking down the actual amount of money that people can give out or coaches can give out to you, like, it can only spread so far. And the minimum in Division I baseball is 25% right now, right? So if you're only able to give 25% out and you have 11.7 scholarships, like, that makes it really hard to go get really good guys. Or you have to have a lot of walk-ons, right? And so, like, for me, I was a walk-on a lot of the time. And so for me, my grades were super important because I needed to have academic money so I could pay for freaking school, right? Yeah. And so grades do matter. And kind of going back to what I was talking about with this coach while we were watching our guys is like, man, how you get on and off the field, right? How you hustle out a routine fly ball, right? If you're a dude that a coach is watching and you flare a fucking skyrocket pop fly on the infield and you jog your ass to first base, like, that's just a compete thing. And we say it all the time, right? And it's really hard to show guys, but dude, in the College World Series, game 1, right? We're sitting there watching the game this weekend after we got done playing, and this dude hits a skyrocket pop fly on the infield, and his ass is almost touching second base by the time it's caught. Because guess what? If that dude drops that ball, you're on second base instead of first. It seems like so little, but dude, bases are everything. And another 90 feet is the difference between winning and losing. And so you gotta make everything matter, right? How you interact in the dugout. You know what I mean? Are your parents coming down and giving you fucking water in between the innings or during the game, right? We still have that happen.
No way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Or the next one, like I'm sitting there talking to the UTSA coach right after that, and we're looking at the dude on deck, and our guy on deck is talking to the freaking parents in the stands. Yikes. You know what I mean? It's like coaches are watching you.
Yeah.
Everything you do is important, right? In and out, right? In between innings. Are you lobbing the ball across the infield or are you throwing it across? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So that one ball comes at you and you were just lobbing balls across the infield to the first baseman while the pitcher's warming up, and then you get the ground ball and then you sail it, right? It's unreliability, right?
So how do you...
Well, the next piece, too, to add on to that, is you ask any college coach, if they show up to a game and they're just there to watch and recruit, and they say, ooh, I like the left fielder or whoever, what do you think they're going to do the moment they start to notice that I like him? Watch him more. Watch him get on and off the field, right? So again, like, once they like how you play, that's when they're really going to start to dive in a little bit more to kind of like, what kind of person is he?
They're
How
not
does he
even,
interact with
they're
his
not even
teammates?
going to watch you play.
Yeah. They're watching everything else that goes on.
When I had a coach tell me this the other day, because he came up to us, Sean was already coaching the team, and Sean hadn't seen him yet, so I gave him our roster, and he's been there. He's been to our games before.
So what, they're coming up to you guys and like,
Yeah.
okay,
They'll ask like, who should I watch? Blah, blah, blah.
gotcha.
This specific coach told me I gave him like 6 of our guys, right? I was like, these are the guys that like could play for you today or now. And he's like, no, give me one. He's like, I just want to watch one. He goes, I'll come back and watch these other ones down the road if I need to, right? He's like, I want one, and the reason is because I'm not going to take my eyes off him the entire game. Like, I'm going to watch him in the dugout, and then I'm going to watch him go on deck, and I'm going to watch his at-bat, I'm going to watch how he handles his at-bat, I'm going to watch the physical stuff, and then I'm also going to watch how he gets off the field. I'm going to watch how he gets on the field.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch how he interacts. Does he go to his fucking mom to the fence to grab a water from her and, like, talk to her in the middle of the game? Is he dicking off in the dugout, or is he being a good teammate? Is he picking people up? Right? Is he attentive in everything that he does? Right? Because that's what they want. That's what they need. And the biggest thing is like, dude, if you're not that guy and you don't do all those things right, if there's one thing that coach doesn't like about you, there's 100 to 200 other players probably your same level in the same exact tournament.
Well, the same complex.
The same complex. So he can just flip to the next field and watch somebody that is in your same position.
Dude, you'd be surprised. There's so many coaches that we see, especially in tomball, right? Because you have all those 4 fields right there. And there's coaches literally standing between fields just watching.
Back and forth.
I don't like that guy. Okay, well, I'm just going to watch this game then, right? So the opportunity to catch an eye can go by like that, right? You may only have one shot of this coach catching your at-bat. What are you going to do with it, right? So, again, everything matters, and there's so many people at everything that it's like there's opportunities all over the field and all over the place that, like, we can't even begin to describe how many.
And players get fucking annoyed with me because I'm the Sean.
Never, right?
Sean holds them accountable, but I'm the stickler, right? Like I'm the minute pieces because I knew me as a player, right? Sean was a different level coming out of high school in terms of capability and like projectability and just talent. I wasn't the most talented, right? So I knew that I had to do all the fucking little things. I had and if I didn't, I wasn't going to get recruited, right? The truth is, most guys that play in our organization are not going to be the most highly touted dude coming out of high school. It just is what it is. So if your aspirations are to play college baseball, you have to do everything fucking perfect. Now, don't take perfect as like I have to hit doubles and home runs and I have to throw 95 in strikes every pitch. No. Perfect is I handle my business the right way. I'm professional in how I do things. You know what I mean? Because if you're not that way...
And how do you coach that? Because I get it, you got kids, and maybe they're not dependable or reliable in the moment, but how do you instill that in them, or how do you motivate that so that it comes out of them and they learn and it don't continue to be?
You just stay on their fucking ass. Like, you make them not like you, or you just make rules. Like, and I don't know. That's
a hard question.
It is. Our from I sound old, but how we grew up playing was like that shit really mattered, right? Like that was super important to us. Like it was something that my dad instilled in me. It was something that Sean's dad instilled in him very early on. Like, man, like you have to do everything right. It's not about how you just play, right? But now it seems like it's okay to fucking jog out of the box on a routine pop fly.
And the shitty thing is sometimes they learn the hard way, meaning like there's people there to watch and someone does something stupid, and what do?
And they stop talking to you.
That or they get up and leave.
Yeah.
And now not only is the one person that was being watched by whoever schools were there, right? Everyone else that's on the team, and not even that, it's on the field, right? You take into account the other team as well, right? Now they're not getting watched because one person did something that pissed them off and they got up and walked away to go watch another game, right? So again, it just opening their eyes to that like, hey, like, you say you want to do this, but like it's a business to these people.
Yeah.
And we say that a lot, but like really and truly, like if you're a recruiting coordinator, especially at higher level schools, and you don't bring in talent to win, what do you think that head coach is going to do?
You're fired.
Yeah, you're gone, right? Because you're not upholding your end of what you're supposed to do, right? So, like, college coaches, they take that crap serious. And they're just, the thing with them is, like, if they don't like what they see, they're not going to give you an explanation.
Mm-mm.
They're just going to leave.
Well, they don't owe you.
They don't owe you
Exactly.
one.
They don't owe you anything.
We have a story for that. Just even last year, our 2023 class was playing a team, really good team. Had a ton of college commits already. Had a lot of dudes still uncommitted. The guy on the mound for them was up to 89. A really good pitcher. Had a lot of good, like, just stuff. His stuff was good. It could play at the college level. It could play at the Division I level. And he goes out there against us, and he threw fine for the first 2 or 3 innings, and then we started to get to him. Started walking people, started hitting people. He ends up throwing like a hissy fit on the mound, right? Like just like a uncompetitive, just like poor me type of fit. And one of the coaches that we have a good relationship with went up to their head coach
In the middle of the game.
In the middle of the game and said, "Hey, I will never recruit that kid ever. Like, you need to tell him. You need to tell him that, like, we are off, and we, like, do not contact us, like, nothing. Like, we want no part to do with them, right?" And so, like, that's just for kids to hear. Is like, man, everything matters, and you never know who's watching you, right? And it seems so small, right? It seems so unimportant. Like, you drop your head after a ground ball that you may, like, booted or you threw away, right? You don't hustle out of the box on a routine ground ball or a routine fly ball, right? It seems so small, but it's competitive intensity. Coaches want guys with high competitive intensity.
But at the end of the day, the last thing a coach is going to do is bring in a kid that he has to grow up and babysit.
Yeah, that's what fucking NAIA and junior college are for.
Right? It's like especially if your aspirations are to play high college baseball at any level, Division II, Division III, Division I, whatever, junior college, NAIA, like high ranking programs are not going to put up with that.
Yeah, I shouldn't even say that JUCOs will put up with that. Like, you better be freaking good.
Yeah.
You better be really good with a lot of, like, problems to go there. So
I would hate, to have worked so hard and have someone there looking at, say it was me, right? So looking at me, and then in the blink of an eye, I lose it, and all of a sudden, I turn to the person that sort of snatched my opportunity.
Right. Well, and the reality of the fact too that people don't understand is getting recruited is really hard. Right. Like,
very hard.
It's not like it's just like, oh, and this is where parents have issues, right? Like, they think since they've invested all this money for the past 12 years, my kid should get recruited, right? Your kid might not be that good. Yeah. You could invest all the money you want to. He might end up being nothing, right? But the thing is like you might get one shot. You might get one opportunity. Are you prepared to do everything perfect that day, right? Because if you don't, your opportunity is gone, and it's gone in a flash.
Well, the next thing, too, is like you look at more so the 17s, because we were talking earlier just like the difference between 17U and 16U baseball. You look at these bigger organizations like that have 13 teams per age group at all these different locations. Like, when they get to their 17U year, they're taking all these best players from all these good teams and making just a stellar juggernaut team that's going to all these big tournaments.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then when you look at these teams in 5-tool per game, whatever we're in, it shows where these kids are committed, if they are. Right? So, like, if your aspiration is to play at Dallas Baptist, per se, right? And then when you go play a team that's full of Dallas Baptist commits, well, right there in front of your eyes is, like, really and truly what it takes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when we ran across the Stick Scout team on Friday, right, all Power 5.
Yeah, read that. It
was like A&M, TCU, Dallas Baptist, Arizona State, Texas Tech.
DBU, A&M, DBU, U of H, Arkansas, TCU, Oklahoma, A&M, Wichita State, Texas State, Baylor, Rice.
And how old are these kids? These ones?
24 and 25. They had some 25s on there that were already Power 5 guys. But, and again, this is not to stroke their ego, right, and tell them how great they are, but it's like, that's what it takes, There was a 2025 A&M commit playing shortstop against us that we're rolling over balls in the 6 hole that really and truly we're probably beating out against any other team. He's making these plays. It's like, that's what it takes to play at that level.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like in like.
He might not start next year.
Exactly.
Oh, dude, the kid's not even gonna sniff the field. Like, it's just what it is, right? We forget. I think with social media and the eyes that have opened to recruiting, we think it's easily attainable, right? Like the social media has made it seem like, oh, anybody can do this.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, my kid can do this because this kid's doing it. No, you can't. No, you can't. Like, I'm telling you right now, you can't. You can't tell your ass from your head still, and you're 17 years old. Like, dude, no, you can't. Right?
Well, I mean, even like when we were in the PG National Select, I was over talking to a coach after one of our games, and he's sitting there with 2 other college coaches watching a 15U game with a Brewer scout behind him with a radar gun.
Damn. 15s.
15s, not 17s.
Yep.
So it's like, again, they're watching everyone. Everyone.
And that might change down the road with just the rules that are coming out, but still, like,
That just puts it into perspective, though, for people listening, like, really and truly how hard it is.
it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
Did y'all hear about that kid in I think he's in a Pirates organization, 16-year-old kid, and he started a game at catcher.
16 years old from the Latin
DR,
America,
some Latin
Damn,
country.
dog. It's
16 years old.
blows my mind.
And it's just like the piece too, and like this goes kind of geared towards our younger teams, is like if you're not coachable and you can't do the things we're asking you, like we're telling you. We had a conversation the other day about this at practice. Is like, guys, why do you think we tell you what we tell you? We've been around winning baseball. We played in college. Not that we know everything. We're just telling you what it takes.
Yeah.
We're telling you what it is at that level. When we see and come across teams that are that level, we're going to show you. Look at that. Do you do that? No? Well, you better figure it out. Because if not, like, I can't do anything for you.
It's going to be I guess maybe there's the potential for it to be a rude awakening when they get there. And you know, it's kind of weird having played with as a parent from a parent perspective, and seeing it is like, you know, sometimes I don't know if we're good or we suck because it's like we're in a vacuum, right? We're kind of seeing it. I'm seeing it really pigeonholed, tunnel vision, and then you know you kind of get out of it and you're like, oh man, we are so-and-so's really good. I didn't even realize they were that good, or like because now they're competing against other kids. You're like, oh. Yeah. And that's why it makes me appreciate it more. Kind of what you guys do. I'm a big fan of tough love, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fine. I think if you didn't care, you wouldn't care, right? It'd be like, oh, don't worry about it, like whatever. So I appreciate that, but I do wonder, and I do think, you know, what can if reliability and dependability. I hear about reliability even like in the business world, where reliable is so. It's the electric grid, reliability, all that stuff, reliability. You know, so what can you do? And I guess it's a rhetorical question for now. Is you know what can be done to reinforce or to instill reliability? I think you got to expect it, but there's very little you can do to coax it out. I guess other than I don't know things. I have no idea.
Well, I think to start, when you're given information, you're expected to retain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
You know, like if you don't know the freaking signs, that's not reliable.
They've been the same signs.
And they're not hard, right? For all our players listening, they're not hard. But again, it just goes back to that stuff. That's what we pay attention to, right? If we have a conversation, if a player comes up to us and says, you know, what do I need to do to play more? Why am I not playing a lot? Whatever it may be, right? And we give you the answers or the reasons as to why, and then you go out and don't do it, like, that's unreliable.
Okay, question. Kid is super athletic. High highs, low lows. Kid is middle to bottom athletically, but very, very little lows, but not very little highs. What do you take? What do you take and win?
Well, depend. Like if I have both the same exact kids on the same team and they're the same position, when the really athletic kid is really high right now, he's going to play him. And the moment he goes cold, like I'm talking the moment I have a sniff of cold, you sit him, right? And you have to sit him because he's not going to do what he needs to in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the kid that is consistent in terms of like I know what I'm going to get out of him every single day. Like, this was a comment that my high school coach made to a kid, and at first everybody laughed, but then he made a really fucking serious comment, and it stuck with me ever since that point. There's a very minuscule conversation in a coaching meeting or in a player meeting, like post-game, post-practice, whatever. He pointed this kid out and he said, I don't know about you. He goes, I can't read you. And everyone started laughing because he was kind of one of those, not a weird kid, but like he was just someone that like personality and like who he was, like you couldn't really read him.
Yeah.
But he was a decent, like good ball player, like you're saying, really high highs, right?
Yeah.
He goes, but I don't know about you, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
He goes, and I took that and I was like, at first I was like kind of thrown off, but then like when I started resonating with me, it was like, man, like a coach should know who I am. Not like me personally, but he should know what I have to offer and who I'm going to be every time I walk out there onto that field. Because if he doesn't know that, how can he trust me?
Yeah.
How can he know that I'm going to be the guy that deliver when the opportunities brought my way?
Yeah.
For sure, and to peel that onion back in even deeper layers, like that's where the relationship piece comes in, where it's like, especially depending on the age of the player, right? If you're dealing with younger kids, like the younger they are, the stupider they are generally, right? But just explaining that to them is like, hey, like, so the guy that you alluded to, or example A of like, hey, really high highs, really low lows, of like, if you can figure out or start to understand what causes you to be really high versus really low and intercept that, you'll play every day.
Yeah.
And kind of letting them have that opportunity to understand that a little bit more is like, hey, giving them that information is such a crucial role in what we do.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is players that are 18, 20 years old that are still that way.
Yeah.
Right? Because eventually the game's going to get hard enough to where it's like they may be really hot for a week, but then they're cold for 4 months.
And like so, like in this instance, same scenario, right? The kid, player B, may never be as athletic as player A. Right?
Right.
That's just God given,
Right.
whatever. And player A may never be as smart on paper, with puzzles as player B is, but there's value in each, right? So at that point, like they're competing for the same spot on the same team, but they're not necessarily the competition of each other because they're not. It's kind of apples and oranges. They're both They're both trying to achieve different objectives to obtain a goal that is similar, but the path is completely different.
Yeah.
So what does that do? But so you got to coach that, right?
Well, I think too, like that's when it comes into roles, especially when you look at like college baseball. Like some guys are really good bench players. Some guys that are more cerebral and intelligent and can like handle that stuff would be a really good guy to pinch hit versus a guy that is maybe a little bit more athletic. Like you've got to get him in there early, so to speak. That's more like a game management thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of coaching though, it's like I always heard that growing up is like you gotta be consistent. You gotta be the same guy every day. You gotta be reliable. You gotta be dependable. You gotta be this. You gotta be that. Right? All those same things that every coach asks players to be. And when I used to hear like the term consistent, I thought it meant like my results, right? Like I thought it meant like I had to be perfect every single day. It's not that whatsoever. It's how are you playing? It's your passion. It's your energy. It's your attentiveness to detail, your sense of urgency, your communication, right? Those are the tangible pieces that you can actually control in the game of baseball every single day, right? Is the guy that has really, really high highs, super passionate, super energized, super fucking on fire when he's doing good, but the moment he goes to his low, he has no passion, he has no energy, he has no sense of urgency. He's not engaged in the game. He's not communicating. Is that what happens? Dude, that guy is fucked.
well, generally too, like if you look at consistent players, right, based off what Garret was just saying, those are also the best teammates. Mm-hmm. Guys that are inconsistent are the ones that
when they're not getting their
Exactly.
opportunity, they sit there and they bitch and moan.
And then they pout and they think it's all personal and stuff.
It's not
Right? So, but and again, it's like, and coaches say this all the time, and I think there's a lot of truth to it, is like, if you want to be a more consistent player, be the best teammate you can be.
Yep.
Be supportive. Be the first guy out of the dugout to pick the pitcher up or to pick someone up when the big play's made. And this is something too that we've been talking a lot with the 17s, is because we've run across some teams that have obviously had more talent, right? I just read that roster off, right? We don't have any guys going to those schools, right? So we've run across teams that have more talent, right? But there's been moments in the game, if anyone's been there, where the momentum's with us, right? We come out of a big inning. We have a big inning in the box, and the momentum's in our dugout. If you're the consistent player, be the guy in the dugout that's keeping the momentum and the energy
with us.
on our side with us, right? Because that, man, like when you start to run into these really good teams, and the guy that we ran into with the DFW Twins a couple weeks ago, there was 88-90 flipping sliders into 84, like that's really hard to compete against, right? To have results, I should say, right? To have results off of that.
You're waiting for one
exactly,
moment,
right? So like you're waiting for that one moment where when a guy has a competitive at bat and draws like a 10-pitch walk, like that right there is the momentum shift. Each and every game is different, and being able to recognize that and put that in perspective for them is like, hey, like that's a big turning point.
Yeah.
It's a big turning point in this game, and we got to be able to use that to our advantage to make something happen.
Well, this is what we forget too: is every single player is the same age. They're the same kid, man. They put their pants on the same. They fucking put their cleats on the same. They fucking warm up the same, right? They do the same shit that you do. They got the same mindset. You can beat them. There is a way. Like winners find a way. There's a way to beat that team. Yeah, they're more talented. Fuck them, dude. We don't care. We want to face the better competition, right? There's a way to beat them, and it's just like he's saying. It's how you find momentum. It's being routine baseball players.
And this was the same tournament 2 days before that. It was on Thursday, and we were in just a dogfight competitive game. We go down like 4-2, 4-1 at one point early. Made some bad pitches, a couple mistakes in the field. And I just told the guy on the mound, like, keep doing you. If you keep doing you and competing on the mound, our offense is too good to just sit here and not do anything. Some college coaches in the stands, and I just told them, like, keep making pitches, keep making pitches. I was like, the moment you back off, that's when we're going to have to get you out. Well, he keeps doing his thing, and then finally in, like, the 5th inning, 6th inning, the offense breaks it open and hangs like a 5 with a big inning. And he goes out there and keeps doing what he does and shuts him down.
Yeah.
And at that point, in hindsight, that's the ball game, right? That's the shutdown inning you're looking for when you have the big inning and you go out there and put the nail in the coffin. And then some coaches came up to us after, and he goes, that's refreshing. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, there's not a lot of teams at this age that play that way and compete that way and just stay locked in the whole time. He goes, that's just super refreshing to see guys at this age and 17-year-olds just do that in that way.
There was a game, I think it was last night, the Rays and Astros, where it was 4-1 or 4-2 after 2. And then for the next 6 innings, like nothing happens. Yeah. And those guys are just competing and going.
And that's what we just tell them too, is like it's hard. It's not easy to just keep going. Or when it's not going your way to just keep fighting. But I think they've seen it enough times this summer, or at least I hope so, where it's like they start to see, if like it happened yesterday. We go down 3-2, we weren't playing great offensively, and then we get a big double that leads the inning off, and then it starts rolling from there.
Yeah.
Right? But if you back up mentally and you start to lose your reliability and consistency of how you approach it, like that's not happening because guys are too good.
I think that's why too, like we talk so heavily, like even our 13s, right? They had a really tough year. They probably played better competition than they'd ever played in their entire life, saw better pitching than they ever did. This is one of the biggest messages that I try to bring on to our players is, man, whether we're winning 100-0 or we're losing 100-0, right? Can you just compete the same way you would if it was 100-0?
Well, okay, yes, that sounds good. But like yesterday, you're LSU, and you're getting your teeth kicked in, and every pitch is a 2-run homer or a dinker.
You gotta make it personal. You have to make it personal. Because here's something. Okay, I know what you're about to ask.
Yeah.
And the next thing too is like, for me as a player, right? I value as a hitter like hitting over 300, right? Just like most guys do, right? So if you get in there, and in my head, it's like regardless of what the score is, like if I don't get a hit right here, or if I get uncompetitive in this at bat and I just lose it, and I don't battle a 2K, and I don't work to walk to draw a walk, well now my stats are going down, right? So if you can make it like matter to you personally in that sense, you're going to start to see yourself being a more consistent player time and time again.
Well, because, and it goes back to what I was saying, was like, dude, at the end of the day, like, that's what winners do. You never know what's going to happen, right? Like, the momentum can completely shift, and you got to play for that. You got to play for that moment. You got to play to where we start stringing it all together. You got to, because you know, just like he said, it's like we're down 4-1, right? And we hadn't been producing that to that point, but here goes a spark. Here goes a spark. Now we get another guy on. Like our junior college coach always used to say, "Hey, you're a walk, a bloop, and a blast away from changing this game. A walk, a bloop, and a blast." So we fucking walk, bloop, blast. Like, let's hunt it, get it done, right? Because if that happens, like, the momentum's back to you, right? So you never know what's going to happen. I think too many times, it's like the air gets sucked out of us. Right, and I think this is like a big football, like this is where like guys from like football dudes like, yeah, you never know, like we gotta keep going, right, like fuck yeah, like fucking hit the guy in the mouth, because you never know in football, like that fucking, you knock the dude on his ass, fumble, here we go, return, fucking there's 6 points, fucking here we go, you know what I mean? And I think in baseball it's so easy for the wind to get knocked out of you. You're standing out in the field and it's fucking barrel, bomb, right? Barrel, walk, barrel. Right?
112 and
it's like fuck, man, and then you're down on yourself, and it's like you feel like as a player I gotta go fucking get in the box and score 20 runs with one swing. It can happen. It starts with the walk, then the bloop, then the blast, right? And it's like you have got, because like the next thing too, and what I'm starting to appreciate and really realize as a coach now on this back end is, man, every inning and every pitch could be a teachable moment, right? Like whether we're down 100-0 or we're up 100-0, every single pitch could be the next moment that kid learns something within the game. But when you get emotional and it's like poor me and poor us because we're not getting the success, or like, oh, coach is going to get on our ass now, like now I'm pouting, right? Because like I don't want to do that. It's like, it's more so, no, man, like, dude, you could change the game right now. This could be the next moment that you elevate yourself as a player.
Yeah.
And so you can't, especially in our level and what we do, it's still like baseball, right? So it's very easy for kids to cash it in, right? It's very easy for it to be like, I just give up.
Because we know you got 4 guaranteed games.
Right, you got more games coming to you. It's like, no, that's not what winners do. Winners stay locked in the entire time. Winners take their at-bats. They take their playing style and how they play, their defensive play seriously. They take their opportunity on the mound seriously. Whether it's going good or not going good, they find a way to be the same dude. Again, back to the scenario, consistency. They don't care what the score is. They don't care who the opponent is. They don't care if there's 100 guys back there watching them play for coaches or if there's none. Because, again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if it's circumstantial competitiveness, if it's circumstantial energy, if it's circumstantial how I'm playing, am I playing good or playing bad, I'm going to have energy based off of that, you're never going to be good because it's fleeting.
Yeah.
Your why behind how you're playing the game in this current moment is fleeting when it's not going your way. So if you can just show up and be the same dude day in and day out, regardless of the score, the fucking weather, this goes to Coach Hallmark, and how's the weather today, boys? Just the way we like it, right? Whether it's fucking negative 20 degrees outside or fucking 120 and we're having fucking heat strokes on the field, or it's pissing fucking rain. It's just the way we like it, right? Because we don't care, right? Winners don't care where the current circumstance lies. I'm still going to do my job to the highest level possible because that's my responsibility.
Yeah.
That's what I owe to my parents. That's what I owe to my coaches, my teammates, my future self who wants to play baseball. That's what I owe myself.
Yeah.
right? And I wish I would have understood that at a younger age because I might have been a little bit different of a ball player.
So maybe there's an exercise out there where it's okay to tell a player, tell me who you are and tell me where you want to be, and let's work on and you'll do that a little bit with the evaluations. But I think even more than saying I do X, Y, Z well, but like who am I as a player? What is I'm such and such on this team. My role means this, with an idea that they'll have a goal to get it. I think, and I love when they bring, and I love when you guys do it, when you bring in the intellectual or the mental side of it to couple with the athletic, because I think you have some smart kids on your teams, and I think there's some smart kids, I mean, just in general out there playing baseball. So to have that, to be more robust, to offer that robustness, I think is a good value add.
Your lack of mental strength can take away and completely diminish all your physical attributes.
Not only that too, but your perception.
Yeah.
Like, well, how are you perceiving stuff? Is this an opportunity? Because even like to go back to the momentum thing we were talking about a minute ago before we move on, is like we're watching these games and it's like this is a really good opportunity to keep the momentum with us. Because think about it, you're down 4-1. It's easy to go out there. It's easy to give up 2-3 runs and then you look up and it's 7-1 going into the 5th inning. Well then, not saying you can't come back from that, but it's a hell of a lot harder to come back from 7-1 rather than 4-1.
Yeah.
Right? So understanding like, hey, if I just keep minimizing and keeping it here, not saying we're going to come back, but you're giving yourselves a shot. And you keep doing that, that's when the snowball effect starts happening in a positive way.
That's why we started doing this shit in the spring. We're even doing it now in the summertime, where it's like where we as coaches will get in there on the machine and we will hit, right, and try to put as much pressure on our team as possible with the rule of if you make 3 errors for the younger guys or 2 errors for the older guys in the same inning, we start back over at 0. First inning, nobody on, nobody out, and you got to run a foul pole, right? You got to run a triangle. Why do we do that? Well, it's because you have to be locked in. Whether you're down 10-0 or it's fucking 1-1 ball game, like if we keep it where it's at and I stay ready to make my play and everybody on the field's pulling the same rope, you keep us in a position to give us a chance to win.
Well,
It doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean whatsoever you're going to end up winning the game, just like Sean said, but just like we have been hounding on the 15s with this summer. Play a game worthy of winning.
Yeah.
Like when we walk out of the stadium, let's say that we deserve to win. Fuck the scoreboard. Scoreboard does not matter. We don't care what it is. We don't care about the end game. We don't care what happens. Let's just walk out of here saying we deserve to win. Based on our style of play, how competitive it was, we minimized damage, we threw the ball good on the mound, we competed in every aspect of the game. They beat us or we ended up winning, right? They just out-physicaled us and they beat us because they deserved it. They hit the ball better. They played better defense, whatever that was. But let's walk out of here saying we deserve to win based on how we played the game.
It's cool, too, doing that. Number one, you start to see leaders emerge of, like, guys start taking ownership of stuff, right? And then also, it's the little moments, too, that sometimes mean the most, right? Like, I remember a couple weeks ago we did it. It was like 6th or 7th inning. We get late into it, right? And we had already made an error. And it's like, hey, you make another one, like we're running.
We're starting over.
And someone makes a big time play in the field to get to the next inning to reset the errors. And everyone just goes freaking nuts. So you start to see them like understand that stuff and really start to make sense of it a little bit more. Because it's hard, right? It's hard to ask them to have the perception of that, right? But when you can come up with stuff like that to where they subconsciously start to realize it, like that's really what it's all about.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of kudos, but not too much because y'all didn't call me on Father's Day. But the other day, I think it might have been a week or two ago, a group of y'all's boys, I'm not even saying the names, but they were out hitting, doing teamwork and whatever. And I thought they were jacking around because they were like swinging out of their shoes and I thought they were just being silly. I was like, hey, what y'all doing, man? Like, get in there. And they're like, no, we're trying to get tired. We're trying to go as hard as we can through these first 20, 25, 30 balls because we want to get tired, and then we're gonna try to lock in. We want to bat tired. We want to be sweating. And I was like, damn, all right, well, shit,
I'll leave you alone,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I ain't joining you on that.
I just love when I see that, like they're kids, dude, and I guess maybe they're not little kids anymore, but as a parent, to me they're little kids still, and to see them adopt some of that, it's like, oh, and dude, and that's that applies, and we to life.
But I think at the end of the day, to hear that and see that, when you see people enjoying that, enjoying that opportunity is really what it comes down to. Right.
You don't have a lot of them, man. It's just fleeting. It's here and gone.
Yeah, we got into their ass about Little League because they were jacking around.
Yeah, we told the 17s, like, dude, they got 3 more terms. This is 3 more terms in summer baseball.
And they never played again.
They don't never, like, in the fall time, like, we're not doing any fucking playing. Like, we might go do a couple tournaments of some stuff for the guys that are uncommitted, but, man, like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is all you got, with us at least, right? So it's like, dude, you better pour it, you know what I mean? You better pour it out and give everything.
You take it for granted, it goes by fast.
It goes by.
If you don't make the most of it, it'll go by in the blink of an eye.
We're hitting the time ceiling here, but before we go, first of all, I think good podcast. That was thoughtful.
It was good.
I don't think it was as much razzle dazzle, but in the middle of the season for you guys, probably some good stuff for parents to hear. I know it's good for us, for me to hear, and when the kids listen, it's good for them to hear. That it's just there's just so much to this game. It's never. It seems like it never stops. It seems like it's always fleeting. Success is always fleeting, right? But that being said, what's on the horizon for the fall? Do you already have dates for tryouts? I know you got little kids coming, or
10 and 12.
10s and 12s coming in. Like, what can people expect to see? I think we got some stuff from Launch Hydrate. Shout out Mark Harmon. We'll get some stuff to give away next time.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff happening. But what's on the horizon?
Yeah, so we got a couple more tournaments for the summertime, and then once we get finished up at the last tournament for the summer guys, the second week or third week of August is what we're looking at right now. We're going to send out more dates again. If anybody's interested in the teams, lessons with Sean and I, or you want to get into the weight room stuff, we'll be putting out more information to that, where you can find it on Facebook, Instagram, all of our socials. Like, follow us there so that you can see that stuff. But it looks like the second or third weekend of August will be the time for tryouts. We're going to have ages for the fall: 10U, 12U, 13U, 14U, 15U, 16U, and 18U. So those will be our ages for the fall time. The fall, kind of how we're planning it out, our older teams, 2 older teams, they're going to be in weight room only. For the fall, we're going to be hounding on that, and that'll be like the practice and the time that we spend, and then we'll be doing some showcases throughout the fall, and then doing a couple tournaments for the younger teams. Anybody that's 15 and under, we're going to be doing 2 practices a week, and then it'll be tournaments instead of Sunday league. So we're going to try to aim for 1 to 2 tournaments a month during the fall time. And it'll be the same type of training development that we do and that we talked about in the past. So that's what's coming up.
If I'm a football player that plays baseball, I should probably be training.
But yeah, this actually, the schedule that we have set out is going to help out a lot more.
Okay.
So in the past, we've always tried to play a lot in the fall, like not as much as the spring or summertime, but we try to get a lot of games in, as many as possible with our training program. But now what we're going to do is we're going to help minimize the playing time to where it's like, hey, we go get the same amount of games in, but we do it in one weekend instead of spreading it out through an entire month, right? So it just gives us some more, gives people that play football a little bit more freedom.
And I think it also, from the development standpoint, like recovery, right? Because the volume of what we're doing in the fall is a lot higher, right? So it'll help with recovery.
And we can pull back. So, like, we can hit it hard for, like, let's say we set the tournament up at the end of the month, right? We can hit it hard the first 3 weeks in our training program, and then we can pull back the week before so that we're getting ready. Arms are fresh, bodies are fresh for the tournament.
It just gives a little bit more focus on development and a little bit more time to allow guys to really maximize what we have for them.
The fall, dude, I mean, the fall, like, for anybody, whether you play first or not, the fall is your time. And if you're not getting better, you are fucking yourself so hard. Like, the fall has got to be where I'm hitting it hard in the weight room. I'm developing velo on the mound or just throwing velocity. I'm developing bat speed and better hit tool. Like, I'm running faster. Like, this is your time to get better so that you can show out in the spring and summer. If you're not doing it, you're holding yourself back.
1% better, baby.
1%.
It's a
Thank you
motto.
for listening. We'll be back soon.
Thanks, guys.